best in the world. Welcome back to the ACB Wrestling Talk channel, your main source for wrestling news, topics, discussions, previews, all that kind of good stuff. I am your host, Alexis Carrillo, and in the context of professional wrestling, in the context of sports entertainment, and in the context of WWE, when you think of best in the world, you think about a Seth Rollins, about an AJ Styles, about Finn Balor, about a Braun Strowman, about a Brock Lesnar, about tons and tons of other superstars on the roster, and I can assure you, the very last pick on that search for the best in the world, it usually comes down to someone like Shane McMahon. And this is no shade on Shane McMahon at all, it's just the fact is, he's not actually a professional wrestler, he just wrestles matches a few times in his career. He's not actually an active wrestler, and you know, if you want to get technical, he was never actually a part of the best in the world or WWE World Cup tournament, and yet he did win that tournament. And I'm just going to put this out there, and I'm just going to say it. Shane McMahon winning WWE World Cup, even if it was just a throwaway tournament on what appeared to be one of the most throwaway pay-per-views of all time, at least for me, and remember, this is all subjective, this is just my opinion, but at least for me, this, or their decision to have Shane McMahon win this tournament, name himself the best in the world, at least to me, it's a spit in the face to the fans, it's a spit to the face to the freaking wrestlers on the roster who bust their ass 300 days a year to even be in consideration of being best in the world, or even be in consideration of being one of the best wrestlers on the planet. And now there are rumors that Shane McMahon might be turning heel on SmackDown, whether it be tonight or next week or the week after that. But there are rumors that he will be turning heel. They are planning to make him a top heel for the next few weeks, for the next few months of programming on SmackDown Live. And we talked about this last week, on last week's SmackDown preview. And this is just me. I continue to say this, but this is just me. They are continuing to ruin this show, SmackDown Live, which, you know, the only advantage over Raw it has right now is that it's only 2 hours, but as of right now, it is starting to look more bleak than ever. So, going back to the actual preview for tonight's episode of SmackDown Live, what repercussions will Shane's victory in the World Cup have for Team Blue? Because if you remember, we are building towards Survivor Series, where we're going to have SmackDown Live versus Raw, matches versus matches, you know, brand supremacy or whatever they want to call it. And having Shane McMahon come out last week in that backstage segment and threaten to fire his employees and threaten to fire his superstars, Randy Orton, The Miz, Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, if they did not win the World Cup, if they got to the finals and did not win the World Cup, and to have him insert himself into the final when he wasn't a part of the quarterfinals, when he wasn't a part of the semifinals, when he wasn't a part of the qualifying round. How will that play into the storylines? And I can assure you, at least one of those 4 superstars I previously named, Mysterio, Miz, Orton, Hardy, at least one of those will be a part of SmackDown's Survivor Series team against Raw. Accompanying Shane, of course, Shane McMahon is going to be a part of that team. Because, of course, he's going to play on the whole best in the world storyline part. So, how will all of that play out? What, and, you know, what else will Paige have to do with the women's side of things? We saw it last week. She offered Charlotte Flair to be team captain of SmackDown Live. And Charlotte Flair maybe a little bit disappointed, rejected her. She turned that offer down. In my opinion, because I believe Charlotte Flair is still of that mentality of, I could still beat Becky Lynch, I could still be SmackDown Women's Champion. And to me, being the captain of SmackDown's women's team at Survivor Series is kind of a consolation prize and kind of a sign that I've given up on pursuing the SmackDown Women's Championship. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But one thing is for sure, at least for me, SmackDown Live has a few women who are above Raw, namely Naomi, Asuka, but they also have, girls and women like Lana and the Iconics who, are way below Bayley and Sasha Banks and Natalya and Ruby Riott and maybe even Liv Morgan. So, we'll just have to wait and see how all of that pairs up. Speaking of Survivor Series and speaking of the women, we saw last night on Monday Night Raw, Ronda Rousey respond to Becky Lynch's promo last week on SmackDown Live. Becky Lynch came out and said that she was built in a different way and that she was actually ready to beat Ronda Rousey. To which the Rowdy One responded with the fact that she thinks of herself as the baddest bitch on the planet. So now we'll have to wait and see what kind of response Becky gives on this entire situation. And I gotta say, one thing I want to see from this feud leading up to Survivor Series, I believe it's like a week and a half ago, or a week and a half to go, I should say, or 2 weeks and a half to go to Survivor Series in LA. What I want to see is a face-off between these two women, because Becky Lynch is on fire with the fans, and in ring-wise, she's always been on fire. She's the last kicker, of course, and Ronda Rousey, she's very respected, and it's very interesting because Ronda Rousey is one of the most protected superstars in WWE today. She has not lost, and the only way she's ever been put in a vulnerable situation in a match is either in a 2-on-1 situation or if she has an injured body part. That's the only way. The fact is, when Ronda Rousey is at 100%, when Ronda Rousey has nobody to deal with on the outside, WWE has chosen to book her in a completely unstoppable manner. And I've said it last week, Becky Lynch is SmackDown Women's Champion, but I think 99 times out of 100, Ronda Rousey will go over Becky Lynch if it was up to WWE Creative. And I still believe that. I still believe Ronda Rousey is going to win this match. But how is she going to win this match? Is it going to be definitive? Is it going to be a submission? Is it going to be a pinfall? Or could we have another Super Showdown situation where Becky Lynch, intentionally disqualifies herself because she just can't handle it, just like with Charlotte Flair? So we'll just have to wait and see. All I want to see right now, whether it be tonight or whether it be next week, is a confrontation between these two ladies, because I think it could get the freaking crowd on fire, on their feet, cheering their asses off, and bring that electricity to the building and to the show everybody watching at home, which is something that WWE is clearly lacking today. So that's all I want to see on that situation. And finally, is AJ Styles ready for Brock Lesnar? At Survivor Series, we're going to have round 2. Last year, Brock Lesnar was Universal Champion, and he was facing then WWE Champion AJ Styles. Brock Lesnar is now in his second Universal title reign, and AJ Styles is still in his second WWE title, but still the same reign he had recently gotten or achieved last year. With that said, is AJ Styles ready for Brock Lesnar? The most important thing in this storyline for me, at least for me, is that AJ Styles plays up the fact that he is facing Brock Lesnar once again. That this is round 2. The fact is that he could not handle Brock Lesnar last year, but he has learned from his mistakes last year, and this year at Survivor Series, he's going to have a whole new game plan and a whole new strategy against the Beast Incarnate. That's the storyline I'm looking for them to play. And as far as the whole #1 contendership to the WWE title, I'm not sure where that goes. Styles took care of Daniel Bryan a week ago. He took care of Samoa Joe at Crown Jewel. Who's next in line for a WWE title shot? I'm thinking The Miz. You know me, I'm thinking The Miz. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, that's the SmackDown Live preview for tonight's episode of SmackDown Live. Make sure you tune in to the USA Network to catch all of the action. 2 hours of what could be the best show on WWE television right now. In terms of cable television, I know a lot of you fans love NXT and prefer NXT over Raw and SmackDown. But in cable television, SmackDown Live has always been, or at least for the past year, has always been a better show than Monday Night Raw. So anyway, leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions on tonight's show or on future events on the comments section below. If you follow wrestling news, topics, discussions, previews, all that kind of good stuff, consider subscribing. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. That's it for me. Till next time.